What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorld. Today we're going to be talking about some defensive abilities that you guys may have been informed improperly about. Now, we were talking about it during my live stream about a couple weeks ago. I went out, I changed the abilities from Lurker to Acrobat because you guys are like, yo, low-key Acrobat is like a OP Lurker. Let me go ahead and explain what's going on with this right now and why you should not use Acrobat as your main user in this game. Pretty much in Madden 20, no matter how tall your user defender is, if he is like considered a linebacker, even sometimes in the secondary, if you have certain Acrobat on your players, the Acrobat is going to make them dive and go to SWAT stuff. They're not going to be able to get the spectacular catch animation. All right, if you are a linebacker, you're not going to be able to jump at all. It's like you don't even exist, pretty much with the way the game was changed up. Because last year what happened was everybody was jumping way too high, and I agree with that. Dudes was jumping like they had a firecracker stuck in their butt cheeks, and EA Sports is like, you know what? We can't do that anymore. We have to kind of tone it down. But in toning it down, they made the game very unrealistic. And players that are like 6'5", like an Anthony Barr, they can't even jump up 1 inch to pick the ball when you throw it right at them. So you may have noticed a lot of these things happening to you guys throughout the year. I spoke about it back in August when I first got the game. But they've tuned it, and you actually need Lurker on any of the players that you're going to actually use defensively. All right, so I'm going to go right now and I'm going to break it down for you with Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor is usually my user defender. All right, so what I did was I gave him Acrobat and Lurker. Before I did this, I gave him Acrobat. Once you guys told me about, you know, Acrobat low-key being something that is very, very unique in the game or whatever, I gave him universal coverage and took away the Lurker and just gave him Acrobat. That was a huge mistake, and it almost cost me a game because he doesn't ever jump straight up in the air. All he attempts to do is dive for interceptions and swats. He never. It's like the ball doesn't exist above his head. So that caused major, major issues. Now, other than these two things, you always want to have Enforcer on your main cards. Many of you have been asking, you know, Jemiah, what do you think about not having Enforcer, but just knowing that the hit power is there to cause fumbles? Well, let me explain that to you guys so you thoroughly understand. If you don't have Enforcer on your players, you're not going to force as many fumbles, number one, unless you set your coaching adjustments to like aggressive and you get lucky. But number two, it completely nullifies the click off. So many of us that have learned about the click off, you know, since, like I said, back when the game started, when we figured out that Pat Tillman was just straight savage, once you have Enforcer or any of the secondary players, you can click off and do whatever you want. Now, that doesn't mean that because Patrick Willis doesn't have anything on him, that he won't cause a fumble if he runs right into you. You know what I'm saying? But remember, these middle linebackers and, Lawrence Taylor, Alan Page, these guys can get Enforcer. They just don't do what the secondary does. Maybe Patrick Willis if you leave him out in the open, but if you rush him, they don't allow Enforcer to affect the quarterback. Just so that you guys understand. And I use him as an outside rusher in my 3-4 and in my nickel A-gap. And I had Enforcer, I've tried it, it doesn't work. The computer just, if they're gonna fumble, they're gonna fumble. It doesn't matter about Enforcer. So with those of you guys that have been asking about the abilities, and also for many of you guys that are just joining the channel, just getting Madden, I wanna just go ahead and clarify again. You only get 3 players on offense and defense. On special teams, you get 1, all right, which we use our kicker for. All right, so it's kicker or punter, and we chose the kicker to use. When you put abilities on any player that's not listed in your active superstars, they will not work with the abilities that you have put on them. I've seen a lot of misinformation throughout my comments, and it's been so much that I have to actually mention it. So hopefully you guys can help me out and go through the comments and let people know. Most of us already know it. That doesn't mean that we're better than anybody else that's just learning it. That just means that we have to get the information out to let other people know. You can go to a card like this. Say I wanted to put abilities on Kevin Green. Just for, I'm going to give you guys hypothetical, right? If I put abilities on this guy right now, it won't matter unless I activate him. Okay, so none of that really matters. You have to make sure that whatever player you give a superstar X factor or their abilities, that they're activated in order to use those abilities. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to have a superstar X factor in order to have, you know, for everything else to work. You can only have abilities and equip abilities. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and use one of the players that I have that are activated right now and clarify it again for you. For Sean Taylor is going to keep his abilities even if I take away his X Factor. So if I take away the Superstar X Factor ability with reinforcement, these abilities will still work because I would still have him activated for my top 3. I can also just have the X Factor and take away all the abilities, and the X Factor would just work. The bottom line is you have to have him activated. Now, as far as the chemistry in the secondary positions, these things always work for the entirety of your team. All right, I just wanted to verify that so you guys understand that. So there should be no reason that anybody is spending additional training for players that are not activated in their lineup. You get 3 on offense, 3 on defense, 1 special teams. Now, with this whole thing about Acrobat, what do I recommend? If the players can get it with Lurker, it's okay, because I've already tested it. And if you try to throw the ball above my head, he now jumps. But if it's a diving pick, he also dives for the pick. So you can have both of them. It's just the fact that you can't only have one. As soon as you remove Lurker from your player, that's your user player, you are going to notice that the ball is going to be flying over your head. You're going to start to get enraged. You're going to come back to the channel. You're going to write your whole rant about how mad you are that the guy threw the ball right through your body and there was nothing you could do about it. And I'm going to tell you, I told you so. Because this is what it is. Everything has to do with ability, chemistries, X factors in this Madden. Will they continue it in 21? I don't know. I don't think they're going to get rid of it because it makes a lot of money for them with the training. You've got to spend money to get your players upgraded. So I don't really see why they would remove it. But I would like for them to make players that are 6'5" jump in the air like they're 6'5", not like they're a baby infant that just came out of their mom. That's my issue that I'm having with it, and I wanted to make sure that I clarified it because I did in fact take the Lurker off, and like I said, I didn't lose the game, but I came very, very close to taking a huge L on my file because I could not jump in the air to intercept the ball. All right, so now, who are my 3? Sean Taylor, because a lot of you guys have been asking about it. And I go through it in videos, guys. It's not like I'm ignoring you, but I go through it regularly in the videos for the guys that I utilize on my defense. Now, when you look overall at like my defensive line and, you know, my middle linebackers, would it be, you know, cool to let Patrick Willis do something and I just have, you know, because he's also an enforcer, and have him on the field be, you know, ready to cause a fumble and stuff like that? I could do that and keep Pat Tillman and Sean Taylor, whatever, because right now, until we get the Series 5 upgrade, Pat Tillman is pretty much not really useful in the game because he's very, very slow. And when I say 94 speed is slow, that's because every team that you play in Weekend League, for the most part, is going to have a Randy Moss or a TO. It's not for the fact that, oh, bro, your team is juiced. That's not what it's about. Everybody that watches my videos, most of you guys understand that we adapt with the times. So because we know we're playing against faster players, you're going to have to put the guys out there that have the speed. So sometimes I have to sacrifice Pat Tillman's enforcer ability to put Deion Sanders at safety, to put Rod Woodson at safety, because you need that speed. It is a situation, though, that enforcer is so much more useful in the run game. So 3-4, you got to have your guys out there like Tillman and everybody else. I'm just letting you guys understand that it's a clear difference with the way that the speed works in this game. If you come out there, obviously, with a 99 speed Randy Moss, he's going to wreak havoc. And there's nothing you can do about it. And like I said, many people used their free NFL 100 card for Randy Moss. So many people have Randy Moss. For those of you guys like, yo, Gmia, everybody I run into, yo, they got Randy Moss because they were smart. Even if they didn't watch my video where I chose Randy Moss, it's common sense. You're going to take the guy that's most explosive. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter if you're a fan of anybody else. NFL 100, oh my God, Randy Moss there. I got to take... Once Randy Moss's name comes up and it's offensively and it's free, you're going to take Randy Moss. So this guy right now is kind of a weak link with one of the guys that I'm utilizing for my abilities. That 94 speed isn't doing anything, but I guarantee you this, with his next upgrade, it's on and popping. And it's pretty much as simple as that. All right, so it's Pat Tillman, Sean Taylor, who's the GOAT, which a lot of you guys are very, very happy with. I have no complaints with Sean Taylor other than the fact that you have to make sure that you have Lurker on him or he's useless. Now, I'm hiding Ronnie Lott as my third. What I'm looking to do, guys, in all honesty, like this, he's a 95 speed, and I've shown you guys footage. You guys have seen my streams. He gets burnt like toast, all right? It's nothing you can do about it. He's a 95 speed with the 49er chem, and he still gets burnt. But again, with the fact that he's a big hitter, he goes out there, this guy will cause fumbles on the reg. You know what I'm saying? Like just straight reg, like he's just always causing fumbles. The situation with him, like I just said, the same thing with Tillman. He gets, I don't know what it is about that 95 speed, but it looks like if you don't have like 97 and above, dudes just run right by you. Like, it's real stupid. I don't know, maybe even 96, because Denzel Ward, one of my budget corners that I used to have, he didn't even get burnt as much as these guys. These guys are always getting burnt. So ideally, what I would like you guys to do is understand Enforcer is very important, but I may temporarily have to take it off of Tillman and give it to somebody else. Like, even if I make Ronnie Lott be the safety and just he just have the +1 speed right now, we may have to go that route. Now, with a guy like Patrick Willis, this is where it gets very, very interesting. All right, he has all, you know, the usual things, everything that's going on. Obviously, for me, I think that reinforcement is wild because, like, I don't know what it is about Sean Taylor and Ronnie Lott, but when reinforcement gets activated, it gets really, really bad for the offense. And that's why it's really, really good for you guys to run drags or whatever it takes to get guys out of the zone, because that reinforcement is just straight glitchy. Now, we're going to start with his tier 3 abilities. Run Stopper, I've been hearing really, really good things about it. Obviously, you see he gets Enforcer, he gets Lurker. So this is the situation, right? For the players that can get Lurker, I don't really know how to explain to you guys what is the right way or the wrong way, because I still use my safety in my 3-4. Back when I used to run 4-3, I used to use a linebacker. In that case, I would use the Lurker and just be able to know that if I'm running 3-4 or if I'm running, 4-3, I got somebody that could pick the ball, because you cannot pick the ball without Lurker consistently. You may get lucky here and there, the CPU may pick the ball off. You will not consistently pick off your opponent if you don't have Lurker. And I've tested it. It just EA, you spending. Like EA, like, yo, you finna spend, and you spending right now. Now, with Strip Specialist, I haven't used this yet, and some of you guys have been asking me about like additional abilities. One of the bigger things that you guys have to understand as well is what you get for the first 2. Now, with this guy, he gets Enforcer and he gets Lurker as a tier 2 ability. So it's scary because you can still get Enforcer, you can still get Lurker. It's like, yo, should I start using a linebacker again? And the answer for me is no. Because if you're in the run game, like if you play guys that run I tight, I wing, and I specialize in like strong wing and different things like that, you are not going to make the same plays on the linebacker that you would make if you were using the safety. So it's very, very difficult when you guys are asking about the abilities, which way do we go with it? I can only tell you what doesn't work that I've shown you guys proof for. And, like I said, using your safeties is probably the best way to have success in Madden 20. For those of you guys that are not too comfortable with it, that may be an issue. That may be a huge issue, because now you're going to put yourself in a situation where if you're scared of giving up a huge touchdown, you're going to give up the run. And I don't want that. So that's why I encourage you guys to be able to look at the field, understand your personnel. Because if I gave this guy Enforcer and Lurker, how many times am I going to use him in the game? It wouldn't really matter. But let me just point this out. If I was to give him like, Strip Specialist, Run Stopper, you know what I'm saying, as a middle linebacker, maybe that helps in the run game. I don't know. Because I've played against people when you could check what your opponent has. You click the R2 button and up or down on the right analog, and you'll see their abilities. I've played against people with Run Stopper and ran all over them. But that's because my offensive line and my tight ends have very, very high run block, impact block, and lead blocking. So I don't know if it's worth it to do it like that and to waste time on abilities, but I do that for you guys so that you don't have to waste your training and waste your coins. And I can tell you that I've played against it, so I'm not really scared of it. You can still run stretch all day long and just do whatever you want with it, so it's not that big of a deal. So putting abilities on a middle linebacker may not be the smartest thing. And like I said before, especially when you blitz them, when I put Enforcer on LT and Alan Page, it was the dumbest thing ever. They didn't do anything extra. They didn't cause fumbles. It was stupid. So as far as, what we decided like maybe a month ago, the middle linebackers, like your line core, your front 7, you don't need to, you could put Enforcer on them, but I don't recommend it, because you get so much more out of the secondary players. So what we're going to be doing right now, because I don't want any of the Team of the Year players, and I'm going to be waiting for honors, Super Bowl to see what the next upgrade is, plus Series 5 is going to give us a new Pat Tillman, I'm going to hold off with it and just understand all of your players that you have in your secondary should have Lurker. If you don't want to listen and you want to experiment and you want to go ahead and see, let's check Acrobat, wait until you get dotted uncontrollably, and then you could come back and do it, you know, and fix it. Because I have no issue with you guys trying it out on your own, because Acrobat is glitchy. It's just that you only dive for the ball. You don't jump up in the air straight, you know, straight ahead. So with this guy right here, he's the only guy that I can't user. And I leave Acrobat on him because more than likely when I click on, it's gonna be, if I put him at corner, I'm just gonna be in the position to pick it anyway. It won't like be like under the user aspect of it. And the reason that I did not give him Lurker is because he only gets Enforcer as a tier 3 ability. So you can't, you know, you can't switch. It doesn't make any sense. Now, I could go, I think one of you guys said that, what was it, like Fitzpatrick or somebody like that gets Enforcer and Lurker. I could go that route and spend coins now, or I could just chill and just wait, because I could still utilize this guy, but he just doesn't get the things at the tier 2 that you would want. But according to you guys told me you could get all of it. So maybe, you know, Fitzpatrick at free safety, Minka would be a better thing if you haven't already invested in other cards. But when you start taking away from these cards and getting half your training back and going bankrupt, it really, really hurts. So I rather, you know, take my chances with it. And, you know, I don't user him anyway. Usually it's either Tillman or I'm using Sean Taylor, so it doesn't matter. But I would recommend for any user that Lurker is the way to go. And, you know, I wish that you guys just try stuff out. Try it out and understand that I will never ever tell you something that's not going to work, because that doesn't make any sense. And I'm gonna always want you guys to be successful in the game, because that's what makes you guys come back and you're able to feel comfortable and we could talk about things and the community helps each other out. Lurker's the way to go. Lurker over Acrobat all day long. Not even a question about it. Go Lurker if you can get both the way Sean Taylor can, or some of you, like I said, what you guys are telling me about Fitzpatrick, you go that route. If you could get Enforcer and Lurker, that's ideal with the way Pat Tillman is. But that's what I would want you guys to have and understand. You are not picking the ball off if you do not have Lurker in this game, and it's point blank, period. I want to thank you guys and girls for watching. Until next time, one love.